Hello everyone, I'm Dan Lutz, and welcome to the Frontlines in the battle against the deep state, the cabal, the Illuminonkeys, and all those that wish to enslave all of humanity for their own selfish reasons. And we are here on a day that I kind of mentioned that yesterday that I think that Ruth Bader Ginsburg's passing, although anyone passing is always a tragedy for those people that are close to them, her family and friends. There's also a game that's being played on the world, right? It's a video game, a movie. It's a narrative. It's a movie script. It's a wag the dog, and we don't actually know if she just passed now, or as we had looked into, maybe beginning of the year she may have passed when she had that problem and ended up going to the hospital in New York. And also seen a bunch of false images of her, attending events and things of that, portraying her as being alive. When analyzing these events, we were sure that those were fake events. Whether she was still alive or not at that point and not able to appear, and they were trying to create the impression that she was, they are continuously rolling out a storyline to direct us one way or another. Everything to them is a script. Everything is a narrative, is a gameplay. And this technology is getting more and more refined, because now it's extending into the social media, into actually controlling how we think by changing what we see in front of our eyes, allowing certain things, not allowing others, so that they can direct society. This is their gameplay. This is their plan. This is their agenda, because they want control. They want it for their own selfish reasons, and we can go very deep and dark into it. But it is now stopped, because they don't have the narrative anymore. People are not believing the mainstream media. They're questioning everything. The first thing when anything happens, I question, is this real? Not, that's really sad, or not, so is it real? Because there is such levels of deceit that have been perpetrated upon the whole population of the world for a very, very long time. This goes back, to hundreds of years ago. The monarchies of the world go back to Rome, ancient Rome, thousands of years ago. It was all about how do you control the masses. The whole aspect of creating the arena in Rome was to give entertainment to the masses, to distract them from, we're having a lot of problems over here, there's nothing to eat. Let's go to the arena and get our minds off of it. So this you might say is, in some aspect, may be necessary, right, in dealing with the populations of the world. Not to say that their as a technology that has evolved, that there isn't good and bad in any technology, but the people behind the technology, their agenda is, when they go up against the Constitution, against freedom, against liberty, against the people's best wishes and concerns, and for their own lives, for their benefits, because they know better, and ignore everything. So, for example, they think that, well, humanity has run its course, and time to go to humanity 2.0. We're just going to go ahead and create a situation where we can genetically modify the whole planet. Because they're so smart, right? They know what's better than anything else. And by the way, they will get very rich in the process. They will become the lords over the world. They will create this scenario in which we have no freedom of choice. They will have us choose to go in this direction of not having choice, to slip into the box, into the Borg cubicle, get implants, get everything to do your work better for their benefit. Yes, you get to live, and they'll even offer you a longer life. Hey, you can get to be 200 years old in your cubicle, not leaving, wearing a mask, wearing a respirator, being detached completely from humanity, no touch. Their plan sucks. And the good thing is we have a president that also says so, and he's pretty candid at how he goes about it. So I spent the last 3 hours or so going through a latest video. The latest protest against stupidity rally. That's what he's calling it now. These are protests against stupidity. That's what I mean. He calls it out. The stupidity of wearing masks, the stupidity of just lining up to do what they say and get a vaccine because, oh, by the way, it's never been tested. This kind of vaccine alters your DNA like no other vaccine has ever done before. But let's do this and force it. So I spent time editing this particular video. It's a long speech. Actually, I have 2 hours. I've got it down to about 15 minutes, and I did render it at a lower resolution because I wanted to, that's why kind of late getting on is because it was rendering, but it was close to finishing. But I did it on a lower resolution. But we'll go through this. Now, in the edit, I have taken some things that were like further in and moved them to the front. This was just more of convenience for me to push one or two things together that, so Trump will be speaking about one topic, but then he'll put 12 other stories in the middle. So I took them out. And one or two of them were actually pretty good, and I moved them to the front. So it's going to be a little jumbled as we go through it, but that's okay. All right, before we get into that, this program is brought to you by your donations. I really appreciate everything that you've done to help me through this time of the worldwide shutdown, the lockdowns. It really has caught me into a difficult position, but my audience here has been the only way I've been able to survive for the last few months, and I really appreciate it. So please, if you can, this is a timing where, towards the middle to the third week, I need to bring in extra amounts to cover the bills, right? The electricity, the Wi-Fi, the rent, and that is where we're at. So food, I'm good at the moment. So thank you for everyone who's given donations thus far. Please do what you can. Okay, next bit of housekeeping. So yesterday we did a California Assembly faux meeting. Went on for 20 minutes. YouTube only put out 3 minutes. That's why if you look at the video there, we gave as an example, it's only 3 minutes long. YouTube just cut it out. Now, according to me, I'm looking at the screen and it says that, yeah, I'm broadcasting. To me, I think we're online. It says I'm online, it says I'm live, but I wasn't. So this has happened many times in the past, right, on sensitive subjects. So why is us forming assemblies a sensitive matter? You know, this is the only time in our lives in which we, or even our parents' lives, or our grandparents, or their parents' lives, that they have a chance to change things. We can go back to the Revolutionary War, really, to say this is when we, as the people of the planet, America first, because this word is, but the concepts brought about through this Declaration of Independence, the idea of freedom, that everyone has unalienable rights. That means you cannot lean on these rights. The government cannot take them away. They cannot change them. They cannot do away with them because they don't like them. That we have these rights, and now it's been stated, it's there. They're trying to take that away right now, and that's what we're experiencing. And the best thing that we can do right now is to actually use the Constitution and its rules that say we have the right to throw off a government that is going against the Constitution. And the mechanism is there. You think they would write the document and say, oh, well, we'll figure it out? No. They said, the people have the right to assemble, to be the government when they assemble. That's what the Constitution says. So if we have the right to assemble and it cannot be taken away, and maybe that's why they want to social distance us, for us not to assemble, that we can then throw out those people that are going against the Constitution. And the mechanisms are there. It's about forming our own grand juries, going ahead and taking filing affidavits that basically say these are our truths and we're challenging you. And if they don't go by what we're saying, we can remove their bonds if they have no bond, which means if you're in a position in the government, right, and you're not bonded, then if someone goes after you personally, the bond isn't there to protect you or the government. So you can go after their personal property. No one wants to basically lose their house and their car and their business because they were going against the Constitution. So we have a way of going forward. And this is about the rights of the people to assemble and how to go about it. So what I'm suggesting to you to join the LifeForce app and you can go to lifeforce.global, LifeForce app in the iOS or Play Store, and you App Store, and you can download a LifeForce Watch and then join one of the groups. That's the assemblies. They're all listed there. Join it and start to hold meetings. And this meeting that we did yesterday, because they are private meetings, right, of the people. We're on the private jurisdiction. We're assembling as people, not in the public, which means government, right? So when we assemble, right, we can now do something. So this is how we start this process. So we give an example in our meeting that's private. We're doing this as a mock meeting. We did it, the things that are not part of our true meeting, we did it as an example to show people how to do it. And it was cut off at 3 minutes. So we will redo that. Don't worry. We will redo it. And in fact, as I mentioned yesterday, after we had that meeting, we continued the Zoom meeting, went on for, I don't know, another 45 minutes, an hour, I'm not sure. But it was excellent conversation. I will also post that as well. Okay. Moving on. What else? Okay, I think that's good. So why don't let me line this up here? Okay, so now we're going to go over this speech that Trump gave. Again, resolution is a bit low on it, but we've got to go. It's 15 minutes and 50 seconds. So 4 or 5 topics in here, so we'll stop along the way. So here's the first one. Again, it's some of the things that are farther down in the streets. I moved them to the front. Just made it easier for me to edit it that way.
And I shouldn't say this, and the fake news keeps going, oh, he's giving away classified information. No, I'm not. We are building and we have built weapons the likes of which this world has never seen before. And I said that a week ago, and it was a headline in one of these fake newspapers where he's giving away confidential information. These people are crazy. No. I'm just telling you that President Putin and President Xi of China, Russia, China, North Korea, everybody, they are so envious of what we're doing. They can't even believe it. If they know, they perhaps don't know. You know, under Obama, they knew immediately, okay? Under us, but we are building weapons all made in the USA. The likes of which no country has ever seen before, and hope to God we never have to use them. That's the key. I don't ever want to use them. Remember, I was supposed to be a guy that was going to get us into a war in the first week. Remember that? Where's the war?
Where's the war? Exactly. We're getting out of wars. But what I found pretty interesting is the way that he was phrasing this, is that these are weapons that the world has never seen before. And I believe that he's really talking about some very advanced technologies. And he's very confident, right? He's not worried about what China's going to do, or Russia for that matter. And I think that these are going to be, are they Tesla related type of weapons? Are they anti-gravity type systems? Super energy weapons? Don't know. But the way he's phrased everything there, it makes me think that there's a lot more than everything that we already know, right? And we know a lot. We know stealth technologies, hypersonic missiles. We know about these. Of course, nuclear, hydrogen, all of these, neutron, all these types of particular, explosive, explosive technologies. May there even be aircraft carriers instead of that are floating in the water, are hanging in the sky, as in the Avengers, possibly. But I think that's something that's known. The other things that are known are the triangular anti-gravity, ships, right? That they've already exposed. So, and we've got pictures from the interior of them. So this is already known to the world. So what's not known? Very interesting. So we'll see. So we'll go to the next story here. Hello. I have the spinning ball there. I was thinking about moving to the next thing here. Hello. Well, while it's spinning, I don't know what to do with that. Well, technical difficulties do occur when you're doing live broadcasts. Well, let me give it a moment. I'm going to look and see. So say hello to everyone. So hello, Digger. Hello, Gail. You're in the chat room. Gail's back. She took off for a while because I was a little late getting here. Sorry about that. 11 current viewers. Hello to everybody. let me try this again. Yeah, it seems like I'm gonna have to restart the video. So stop it and start it again. So give me a moment here. All right, here we go.
Protest against stupidity. Shouldn't say this is some kind of a rally. Supposed to be a guy that was going to get us in under us, but we are building weapons all made in the USA. The likes of which no country has ever seen before, and hope to God we never have to use them. That's the key. I don't ever want to use them. Remember, I was supposed to be a guy that was going to get us into a war in the first week. Remember that? Where's the war?
Where's the war? Here we go.
I mean, we are getting crowds, and this is pandemic, and we're rounding the turn. We're rounding the corner of the pandemic, okay? But we're having them outside, and we shouldn't say this is some kind of a rally. From now on, it's called a protest. We are protesting. You know, we're going to call all our rallies stuff because, you know, when you see a lot of these, let's call them blue states. We want to be nice. We're going to call it a protest against stupidity. So we are going to protest against it.
Protest against
the loss
stupidity.
Of illegal giant, Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Her landmark rulings, fierce devotion to justice, and her...
Well, before we get into Ginsburg, let's just stop for a moment. So protest against stupidity, right? So we have every right to protest, right? All right, again, this is not about assembly. Assembly is the government. It's the people getting together to govern themselves, to basically tell the people that we have in place, they're sitting there as governing the governing body, to say, listen, you guys are going against the Constitution. You've got to stop, or you got to get out. Right? We have the duty, to throw them off. So he's talking about a protest where the statutes that have been set up, these regulations are now saying, well, you can't get together and you have to be social distance unless you're having a peaceful protest. So he's saying he's a peaceful protest against stupidity. And it's perfect because everything that we're really fighting right now is really stupid. The people on the other side, I mean, how do they can't hold an argument because they have it makes no sense. There's no logic to it. You can't use facts, right? Any facts are basically shouted down. The other side for them has no right to free speech, no right to say anything. Right? Because that's where they're coming from, the Marxist point of view, and they basically, you have no individuality. It's only the whole body. It's only the village. It takes a village, if you remember. So, all right, let's go into this now, into our Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Courageous battle against cancer inspire all Americans. You may agree, you may not disagree with her, but she was an inspiration to a tremendous number of people. I say all Americans. Justice Ginsburg's close relationship with a friend of ours, a friend of mine, Justice Scalia, is also a powerful reminder that we can disagree on fundamental issues while treating each other with decency, dignity, and respect. Our thoughts and prayers are with her family. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. So Article 2 of our Constitution says the President shall nominate justices of the Supreme Court.
Yep.
I don't think it can be any more clear, can it? I don't think so. I don't think so. What do you think, Tom? Tom Tillis? I don't think it can be any more clear.
So what someone was shouting there as a possibility for a Supreme Court justice would be Trey Gowdy. I think that would be an excellent suggestion. Not where the politics are at the moment, but I think maybe in the future, good. Because right now you have a woman coming off the bench, and so there's the political expediency and benefit comes from putting a woman back on the bench. So, so it's still good though to hear people saying Trey Gowdy. I love him too.
This can only happen in North Carolina.
Fill that seat.
I hope you hear that back home. Look at all that press. That's a lot of press. That's a lot of fake news. A lot of fake news. Well, I hope they hear. So the chant, this is a new one. Fill that seat. This is the chant. This can only happen to me. Fill that seat. Now it says the president is supposed to fill the seat, right? And that's what we're going to do. We're going to fill the seat. We hear more chants. There's a lot of genius in those chants, I have to tell you. You said it better than you can say it. You can read a speech. But what's better than those words? Fill that seat. You know what you do? Fill that seat. You know what you do? You come up, you say, fill that seat, you leave, and you've said everything. You don't have to bother. There have been 29 times a vacancy opened during an election year or prior to an inauguration. 29 times, that's a lot. Every single time, the sitting president made a nomination. That included, did you ever hear of George Washington? Did you ever hear of Thomas Jefferson? Or how about the great Abraham Lincoln when he wore the hat? With a great hat, I want to try one of those hats. I love that. Now think of it. 29 times. Every single time. Nobody said, oh, let's not fill the seat. We won the election. 16 and the 2018 elections, the American people.
So, okay, who's saying not to fill the seat? Oh, you can't fill the seat. It's too close to the election. Obviously, it's the Democrats that are coming up with an argument that makes no sense. 29 times out of 45 presidents, it's happened to where just before the election, you have to replace the Supreme Court justice, and they always proceeded. Now, you might think it's a very short time before the election, but what's it have to do with anything, really? It's just it's not going against Biden, right, in any way. It's fair to move forward. There's no provisions that say, oh, you have to wait, but they want a wait, right, because they don't want to lose that seat for the next 30 years. So, anyway, fill that seat. I think we're going to see that this is coming. Now, we've been discussing how this may be a narrative that they wanted to bring out. Let's say that she has passed earlier, and they were holding off the announcement for as long as possible, for more tactically, beneficial for the Democrats would be to release this information before the election. Why would that be tactical? Is to motivate the people to come out and vote. So the Democrats to come out and vote. Who's motivated by Biden? Nobody. Who's motivated by Harris? Nobody. They're actually demotivating both of them. Harris, when she came out running to get the nomination, she started, she went up to in the very beginning, 15% or something like that. And then she just kept dropping and dropping and dropping. The more she spoke, the less people liked her. So are anyone going to be motivated for Harris? No. Anyone going to be motivated for Biden with all of his baggage and everything? No. How are they going to motivate anyone? By making it all about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, about putting another progressive on the bench. That's why I think that it was brought out at this time, and that it's now been made, notice was now given. So, sorry, I just saw a praying mantis fly and land right over there. interesting. So, anyway, we can see that there are some other motivations that are going on here. Again, we have to question everything. We can't trust what they tell us. All of it has to be questions. Even things that Trump says when he says it. For example, we're going to have 100 million doses of vaccines. The vaccines are coming. They're going to be there. And that gives the impression out there that they're going to force vaccines on everybody. But that's not going to be the case. And that he's also said that they're going to be first for the elderly, right? Well, does this help the elderly, right? Deal with the fear? Yes, it does. Are the elderly more inclined to vote for Trump? Yes, they are. And the reason is that they're wise. Through the age that they've earned wisdom, they can tell that this guy is not doing politics, that he's actually changing things for the better. And so that is a very big block, right? So this is politically motivated, right? Or tactically motivated for him to come out and say these things. Is there going to be the malaria medicine as well? 100% we're going to see the FDA come out and approve that for emergency use, on-label use. It's already couldn't be used off-label for that purpose. So we can see that this is the thing that's unfolding with, this type of tactical decision. So everything is laid out in a way that's a movie, and I'm going to start calling it more of a video game. And the reason that I want to start talking about it as more of a video game will be more about the conversation I had with the California Assembly members after meeting, the House meeting, where we were back and forth and going over some issues, where I really talked about when we look at the existing government incorporated, that it is a fiction. We've learned this, that it's all about a fiction. Everything that they've done is all in this fictional space. And when you grow up with video games, as I did, playing video games and seeing how they evolved into where you were immersed into an environment, into another world, and you acted as another person, we'll use that word, in that environment, and you were used to that, you knew that you were still in reality outside of that environment. But inside that environment, you were playing the game. Isn't that exactly the same thing that's happening with our birth certificate entities that are there? That fictional, ship that's there playing in this world and dealing with all its rules and regulations and statutes. So we can see that there is a reason to have some perspective about this. So we'll get into more. So I'm going to start calling it a video game, as a reference, So all right, let's continue on here.
A president and a Senate majority united in their commitment to selecting nominees who believe in applying the Constitution as written, right? Both the White House and the Senate majority have a moral duty to fulfill the promises they made to the voters, and that is exactly what we're going to do. We said that if for any reason we have a vacancy on the United States Supreme Court, we will fill that vacancy. We're not going to say, and by the way, we have plenty of time. There's a lot of time. You're talking about January 20th, right? So we will uphold equal justice under the law for citizens of every race, color, religion, and creed. I will be putting forth a nominee next week. It will be a woman. It will be a woman unless, wait, okay, let's do a poll. I think it should be a woman because I actually like women much more than I like men, I have to say. do. I like women more. So I have to make a decision to fill the seat, as we say. We should have a new campaign. Let's make a t-shirt, fill the seat, okay? My people are so good. Tomorrow it'll be all over the place, fill the seat. That's a good idea. Would you rather have a woman on the Supreme Court? Yes, woman, yes. Tom Tillis says yes. So would you rather have a woman, or would you rather have a man on the Supreme Court? Let's go. Let's give it one more quick chance. This is a free poll. One more time. Who would rather have a man on the Supreme Court? Well, the man is. Who would rather have a woman on the Supreme Court? Now tomorrow, like fake news CNN, he was playing games with the United States. It is a terrible thing. No, I'm just taking a poll, please. And by the way, that's a very accurate poll, because that's the way I feel. It will be a woman, a very talented, very brilliant woman. I haven't chosen yet, but we have numerous women on the list. I built this incredible list of brilliant people. Like, can you believe it? In 1 week, they nominated me not for one, but for 2 Nobel Prizes.
Okay, we'll go back to that for a moment. So we can see that there is a lot of push to get a woman, right? And so that on the political side is the right thing to do, because he needs the women's vote, right? And you don't want to replace the one that one woman's seat that's there with someone a male, right? It's just not politically correct to do that. I don't use the wrong wording. I don't like to use the word politically correct. The politically wise thing to do is to replace that, because you want the woman to realize that they're being valued, and there should be women on the Supreme Court. It should be equal in essence. Well, there's 9 people, so it could be 4 to 5. Or if it's just happens that it becomes a little lopsided, and becomes one towards the woman's side or one towards the man's side, it's okay. But there should be women representation there on the court. So sorry, my dog is getting excited about. I guess my wife is coming back from grocery shopping. So okay, so let's move into the. And here he's running down to the door. All right, let's continue on here.
And they didn't cover the story.
About his Nobel Peace Prize.
His the first week, very liberal group. And nobody knew what the hell he got it for, and he didn't know. Why did you get it? I don't know. Remember, I don't know. I have no idea. But you have a president, you love your president, and your president gets honored, because I'm not being honored, you're being honored, with the Nobel Peace Prize for Israel, what we did with Israel. I said to the First Lady, go home, I say, First Lady, a great thing happened today. I was honored. Nobel Peace Prize nominated. This is a big thing, First Lady. And then I went home 2 days later. I said, First Lady, you're not going to believe it. I was honored again. Nobel Prize. That's kosher. Israel. Kosher. I said, First Lady, this is great news. Let's turn on the television. This is going to be big. This is going to be big tonight.
Yes.
We just got on it. This is big. Nobel Peace, can you imagine? You grow up in Brooklyn, Queens, and now you're getting to know, First Lady, let's turn on the television. Let's turn on to that fake NBC News. And I see we have a storm. Okay, First Lady, don't worry about it. The storm is big. We haven't taken care of FEMA's down there. Florida, Alabama, Georgia. We got FEMA down there. It's being taken care of. We always take care of them. We take good care of them. Texas, Louisiana, we took good care of them 2 weeks ago. All right, First Lady, don't worry about it. It's next story, I'm sure. It's a Nobel Prize for Peace. We're stopping mass killings between Kosovo and Serbia. They've been killing each other for so many. They're going to stop killing. They said, fellas, let's get together. You know, they've been doing it for hundreds of years, frankly, under different names. I said, that's great. And with Israel, UAE and Bahrain signed a deal with Israel. Everybody said, I said, all right, First Lady, that's the first story on NBC, but don't worry, that's a big story. You know, the floods are big. Well, I see it. And then there was a second story about something. And then a third story about something with me. I don't know, something bad they found out. Then there was a fourth and a fifth and a sixth. I said, First Lady, I'm a little embarrassed. I thought we'd do a little bit. And then they looked at the screen and said, good night. And I wasn't covered. I got the Nobel Peace Prize nomination, a Peace Prize Nobel nomination, and they didn't cover it. And then the following day, I watched a certain show that does like us, and they said, would you believe that they covered, and they mentioned like 5 subjects that were nothing. That was 18 minutes, and the Peace Prize Nobel version, 0 time for President Trump. Thank you very much, fake news media. We appreciate it. And when Obama got it, here are the headlines. President Obama gets the Nobel Prize. We need an honest media.
Yeah. So this is what leads into is talking about the honest media, right? The president gets nominated for 2 Nobel Peace Prizes, right? Obama won the prize without doing anything. A couple weeks into office, oh, here's your Nobel Peace Prize. Oh, why did I get this for? Oh, it's okay, you just get it. You know, it's like, you know, finding in the bottom of the Cracker Jacks box, you get the prize, right? How valuable is it? You know, if there's not a reason for it. Now, Trump is right there on the verge of literally all the countries in the Middle East coming into peace. First time, right? He didn't do what the State Department wanted them to do, right? They went around and did it completely opposite, ignored the Palestinians. The Palestinians say, listen, you are not cooperating with the peace process. We're done. You know, you come along when everyone else is in peace and you want to join, great. Until then, no more money for you. So they laid it out for them, move forward. Now, 5 other countries at least are going to be signing in the next couple of weeks, right? You're going to see one after the other. Is there going to be more nominations for the Nobel Peace Prize? And if they don't give it to him, if he doesn't get awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, what is the value of the Nobel Peace Prize? I mean, he's being nominated because he's fitting the categories. You know, if you look at how you have to be nominated, Obama never even met the criteria, but he got it. So we'll see how this unfolds. But then he's rolling right into what we're really going to be discussing. What you're going to see as a front line in this battle against us is to take on the mainstream media, and specifically the ones that are operating on the airwaves for free, ABC, NBC, CBS, the ones that are on the traditionally old-style broadcast systems, because they're operating on a license that they have to basically report the news. It's part of their system that's set up. They're not reporting the news. They're basically dictating a narrative, regardless of facts. So he's going after him. So let's listen to a little bit.
The free airwaves, they lie over the free airwaves. They use them and they lie. I don't know. We're going to have to look at it. They're a bunch of scoundrels. They hate it when I say it, but you know, honestly, they are the enemy of the people. When they lie, you are the enemy of the people. Oh, damn it, the red lights just went off. 1, 2, 3. There's one back there. There's one back there. Probably, oh, it's OAN. Thank you, OAN. Every time I get on this subject, you know, they cover me up. The people in certain groups are trying to hold them up as long as possible. As long as possible. They're going to try and get Sleepy Joe the credit. He doesn't even know what a vaccine is. Sleepy Joe Biden called it hysterical. That's xenophobic. What does that mean? Tell me what xenophobic means, Sleepy Joe. Who said that? I mean, you're my friend.
Well, so we kind of rolled right into Biden. So before we go any further. So anyway, so you know, this pointing out of NBC right now and the other, you know, free airways, right? They're not free. They actually had a cost, and that was for them to actually do the news. That was the deal. And if they're not doing the news, they don't get to keep those licenses, right? So this is the setting the tone of the narrative. So watch it unfold as we move forward. Okay, now let's go forward. Now he's going to talk about Biden. We're actually rolling down. We've got only 2 more minutes left.
What a voice. Have you ever tried a voice that everybody has? That's true. I wouldn't say it. She said he has no idea where he is, but I would never say it. I won't say it. I refuse to say it. No, but don't underestimate him. Look, he's been doing this for 47 years. And I got a debate coming up with this guy. Oh. You never know. You never know. They give him a big fat shot in the ass and he comes out. And for 2 hours, he's better than ever before. The problem is what happens after that. We're going to ask for a drug test. We are. I'd like to have a drug test. Both of us. I'll take it. He'll take it. I don't want people to feel sorry for our president.
So he was basically talking about, you know, Biden. He asked before for him to do a drug test. So now, like, what was he asking for? What was the thing that he thought he was taking drugs for? Was it? There was lots of question whether he was taking malaria medicine, you know, or was it something for his you know, mental capability to boost it? And I think now he's applied that it's actually for his mental capability. You know, he'd need to get a shot before he goes into the debate, right, to make him clear for a little bit. All right, 1 more minute to go.
I want other people really to feel sorry for themselves because we have somebody that knows what they're doing. We can't have this. You know, we can joke, we can play games, we can have fun. You can't have this guy as your president. You can't have. Maybe I'll sign an executive order. You cannot have him as your president.
He's going to get a lot of play off of that one.
No, but you know this. Everybody knows this. And you know what? People are going to vote for him because they feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for him, too. I feel sorry for him. And maybe he'll show up for an hour and a half in a debate. Who the hell knows? I don't know. But you know, you see the condition he's in. You can't have him as your president. And you know what? You can't have her as your vice president, potentially going to be president. And that's why they're pushing so hard, because they know he's going to be out very soon, and she's going to take over, and she is the furthest left person of anybody. She is rated, not by me, she is rated further left than even Bernie Sanders, okay? He's second, she's first.
Yeah. So, and we also heard that both Biden and Harris have referred to their campaign as the Harris-Biden campaign. So how deceptive, how manipulative that side is, that they can feel so little for the office and for the Constitution and everything, to basically just say, well, we'll just slip Joe out front for a little while because we don't want, because people are not going to like Harris, right? So putting her out front, and she'll just you know go down very quickly. And Biden, being the vice president, he's carrying some Obama glow, right? That they want to bring that forth. So, they're going to let this roll forward, but you have to feel sad for where Biden is, right? If he is having cognitive decline, right? Because anyone that goes through that, you should have some sort of sympathy for them, not politically at all, but as a human being. But Harris is not someone that we'd want to have there, because as he's saying, she's more left than Bernie Sanders, and I can imagine this just rolling out where Biden just steps down the day after, and Harris takes place, and then a new vice president comes in, and it's Michael Obama. All right, so that Obama's back in the White House. Right? So this is their desperate move. Now, all of this being said, and everything that they're laying out, in no way do I think that they're going to be successful. They are literally grasping at straws. Right? They have nothing. Right? They've lost all of their blockades within the government, at the higher levels, and that those blockades that are on the next level down are being removed, and the next level down are being removed. So we can see that this is it's a time of transition, and it's all around us, and we can identify who the bad guys are. We brought up yesterday about what happened with Newt Gingrich, talking about. This is big on about Soros being the one that was funding the prosecutors that are letting loose the rioters, so they go right back out on the street. This is a plan, right? We can see it. We're supposed to see it. We are supposed to notice that they're doing this to us, that the prosecutors are letting them out, and whatever their reason for doing so, or no cash bail, letting them right back out on the street and not prosecuting them, is they have a plan, and Soros has been funding it. So OEN actually had covered this. So let me see if I can bring this up now. So let's see, any more questions in here? Hello. So Lisa joined. Optics, yes, optics. All right, let's see if I can find this. So this is OEN covering this story.
I know that there has been a little bit of a dust-up involving Fox News and George Soros and Newt Gingrich, which seems to be part of something of a pattern at Fox News at this point. What seems to be going on in your estimation?
George Soros' influence and power is pervasive at Fox, so much so that on their midday show this week called Outnumbered, the former House Speaker Newt Gingrich was rudely interrupted when he was speaking the truth.
Progressive district attorneys are anti-police, pro-criminal, and overwhelmingly elected with George Soros' money, and they're a major cause of the violence we're seeing because they keep putting the violent criminals back on the street.
I'm not sure we need to bring George Soros into this. I was going to say you get the last word, Speaker.
He paid for it. I mean, why can't we discuss the fact that millions of dollars...
I agree with Melissa. George Soros doesn't need to be a part of this conversation.
Okay. So it's verboten.
All right, we're going to...
See what she said in the very end? She said, for him?
Okay, we're going to move
She's
on.
listening
Newt
to her.
was saying that part of the problem with these city riots is that they have district attorneys who are funded by George Soros, and these are the prosecutors who let loose the rioters and will not charge them. He was interrupted and told he couldn't talk about George Soros, but more importantly, he was told that he was in error, that he was wrong, and that he was not in error in any way whatsoever. There are 27 cities that have prosecutors funded by George Soros.
Well, it's interesting.
So 27 cities, have prosecutors funded by George Soros. Also from the time of the hanging Chads incident with the Gore-Bush election, and George Soros back then saw the power that in the states of the position of the people who were responsible for counting the votes, whether it was the lieutenant governor, I forget who the position was, but I should gotta look that up. But I remember he started funding the campaigns for those people running for those in different states, so that he'd have power over them. So this is just an influence game, right? With money and power and blackmail. They remember, they throw the blackmail in there. Once these people go down that road of blackmail, they come up. Remember, look at my article, video from a couple weeks ago, Worldwide Civil War, Us versus Them. And we'll see that is, sorry, my low battery. Don't want to lose. Where is it? There we go. Must have knocked it off. Okay. So, we can see that this is an issue that is part of how the takeover has been accomplished, right? Is by going after different offices and paying for those people, right? And then getting them under control. So this insurgency is being revealed to us. We have to take notice. We have to realize we have to do something about it. We, the people, have to do something. And it's not about the peaceful protest. Yes, going to the protests against stupidity, just go to those. It's wonderful, great energy, right? We need that. But it's about us coming together and saying the people that are there in those offices that we've put there, but through elections, through the system that's been in place, the system has been corrupted, and the only way for us to actually really change things is for us to take a stand. We have to gather together. We have to assemble, and that is the de jure government, the real government, as opposed to the de facto government, which is the fiction that has been orchestrated there for us. It is legally a fiction. And if you want to do any kind of research and you dig just a little bit, you'll find that it's true. Even look up the word person. Right? It's not a man or a woman or a child. It's a fictional entity. And you all agree to be this fictional entity in the video game of the government of the USA Incorporated. So this is why I'm calling it a video game, right? So we have some perspective that we're outside of this. We have control. We can put down the controller. We can choose a different game, or in this case, we can modify, the game in play and realize what it's doing, and relegate it to a very small amount of things that we want a corporation to do for us. Those corporations, there are several of them. All the three-letter agencies, FBI, for example. Right? Does it do a good job for somebody? Yes, it does. Right? But we have to have perspective to know that it is a company that's under another company, that's controlling it. And the Trump or the president is the CEO of all of these corporations. So that's why he has so much massive power. But if the business fights, the new occupant, the new one sitting in the seat of power, which is also what we see happening with Kim Gogan and her position of comptroller, over the financial assets, you know, and the sub corporations and all those kind of things don't want to go along with her. Without enforcement, it's hard to get them to do it, right? But even though it's legal or lawful in this case, maybe it's both legal and lawful. We have to be sure that we know what's going to, how we want that to act on our benefit, and make sure it's for our benefit, not for their benefit. We have to have the knowledge and know what a citizen is, right? Compared to people that are free men standing on the land. I mean, these are concepts, you know, that have a legal foundation that they've taken and twisted to the point where they've gotten everybody to agree that you're in this fiction. It's kind of like, you know, going to one of those murder mystery dinners, right? You just jumped in, right, to this murder mystery, right? And you gotta find out what's all going on. And this is a matter of how do you represent that fiction, right? And when you're sitting there at dinner, right, and you're interacting with the other members, and there's rules, right, right, and you follow the rules when you're in that fiction. But then you're done with dinner, and you're done with the event. You have perspective that you're outside of that. You leave that behind. You want to go back on the weekend, great, right? You want to make sure that it's always there doing this particular service of providing entertainment. Wonderful. Providing dinner. Wonderful. Whatever that service is, we have to have the perspective to know that that entity of the USA Incorporated that's there, if we want it to do something for us, right, we have to say what that is and tell them what they're not able to do, which is take away our rights. Okay, on that note, I think